Well, here we go. Another Tory now entering the race. And of course, this is Tom Tugendhat. Obviously, we covered James Cleverly just recently with the last video as well. So it's Tom Tugendhat. And we'll be going over Tom Tugendhat's, shall we say, opening bid on this. And quite frankly, it's quite frankly, I think, delusional. I think it's very, very delusional because it almost seems very, very much so that he has not been paying attention to his own party for the past couple of years. And like I say, when we go over his piece, that will become very, very self-evident very, very quickly. Oh my word. So, who else are we expecting before we get into this? Obviously, the two ones that we know that we are certainly expecting, obviously, Kimi Badnoch and, of course, Robert Jerrick. Those are the other two that we know we are expecting. There's still, of course, maybe we get a complete, a literally who. Like, who is this person standing? We've never heard of them before. That is entirely possible. Obviously, Priti Patel name been thrown around, a few times as well. We don't know whether she will come in, but again, I think she'll have too much competition from Kimi Badnoch and Robert Jerrick. I don't think it's very likely, to be honest, she'll get very far, but again, it's quite likely that she will throw a hat in the ring. Maybe, we'll see. But we'll see who else, decides to throw their hat in the ring in all this. But like I say, I think we've had James Cleverly, who again, as we called him, the man for all seasons of everything to everyone and nothing to nobody. you know, Such a weird pitch he gave yesterday, but yeah, there you go. So we've had two obviously confirmed at the moment. There might have been more since I made this video, but like I say, we know we are definitely expecting, of course, Kimi Badnoch and of course Robert Jerrick as well. But on we go into this, and Tom Tugendhat's really strange pitch, quite frankly. I don't know what he's thinking when he's writing some of this, and we'll go over some of the comments down below. And oh boy, I think he's in trouble before he even began. But before we do get into this, please do remember to click on the like, the share button, and of course, there's the Buy Me Coffee link down below. There is the YouTube thank you button as well, and of course, there's the Pony Club as well. So, as always, thank you very much to all those people who do help and support the channel that way. Like I say, even if you do just click the like and share button, like I say, it all helps. Leave a comment down below as well to what you think to this, but oh my. But before we get into this, just something worth bringing up. Tom Tugendhat's had a massive boost in support because all the people who were going to back Penny Mordaunt have now gone back to support Tugendhat. So he has a lot of support, and this is why I think he will get to the final two as like the one nation centrist hope. However, the big thing, as we'll see when we get to the comments of this of Tom's article he put for the Telegraph. Oh my. Oh my. He has to really battle the perception that he is not a wet. And this absolutely comes across that he's a bit of a wet. The comments, shall we say, are not very flattering, but this is Tom Tugendhat's pitch, and oh boy, there is, I think, some really delusional stuff here. I don't know what to say about this, but it's just so unbelievable, some of the stuff he says. And like I say, let's get into it. So, I want to be completely honest about what I am doing. I am not just running to be the next leader of the Conservative Party. I am running to be the next Conservative Prime Minister. Again, lofty ambitions. So not only do you have to have a cohesive pitch to the party, but you also have to have a pitch to the country as well. Can Tugendhat actually do that? I don't think so, given this. So, continues. That is what this leadership election is about, winning. We cannot serve the British public if we do not win the next general election. We can win it. We must win it. I can lead the party to that victory. I don't think he will. I do not think he will at all. So, a lot of people try to make politics complicated. It's not. Let your values tell you what you should do. Tell people what you will do and do it. That's it. And yet, he has been in the party that has been telling people what it intends to do and not doing it, or just not even doing stuff about problems that have been happening. Like everything in the justice system that we've seen, the big problems piling up there, which now Labour is going to have to take care of. The whole prisons stuff that we've been, seeing, all the stuff that's been coming out about that again, they knew that was a problem and they were just doing nothing about it. So, everything else, the jobs, the titles, the trappings, the theories, the pamphlets, the gurus, the whispers, and the briefings, forget it. None of that matters to the people that we work for. They want us to say what we will do and then do what we say. End of story. And yet, again, you were coming from a party that did not do that. You're going to have to really show people that, you mean it. And I don't think many people are going to go for that at the next election. And again, what is his pitch to the UK public going to be? Remember, this is really focusing specifically on the Tory party membership, which is a tiny fraction of the UK electorate. Anyway, he continues. Clever people have already written at least 1 million complicated words about why we lost that election. But I can do it in one: trust. We lost the trust of the British people because we did not do what we said we would. And it's more than that. It's more than just a matter of trust. It is huge, huge policy deficits, areas, all kinds of stuff where your party just completely and absolutely failed. So maybe you should be listening to those clever people who have been writing all those, million words. And I know that they don't all agree. And that is something that they can still not agree on, by the way. They cannot come to a single cohesive reason as to why they lost. Bit of a problem where you can't actually agree as a party why you actually lost and then how you move on from that loss. It's kind of a significant, significant thing that they have to do if they want to move on. So the second part of that sentence is, of course, very important. He continues. It contains the important truth for the Conservatives. The public wanted the things that we promised: lower taxes, lower immigration, more control over their everyday lives. These are the Conservative ideas, and we just didn't deliver. Except, if you are going to lower taxes, what is the government going to do? Not going to do anymore? What is it no longer going to fund? Lower immigration. Well, we are a country that needs immigration. Like it or not, we are a country that needs immigration. Unless Tom Tugendhat has a massive sort of plan for, investment into the UK, which is something the Conservatives have incredibly resisted all this time. And then more control over their everyday lives in what area? What exactly? Again, because that's just, quite frankly, it's a meaningless Conservative phrase. Oh, we're going to give you more control over your everyday lives. Well, I struggle to think of an area where I don't have control of my everyday life, and I don't think anyone can really say whether they don't either. So this is not a story of left or right. Continues. It is a story of fractions. It's not a story of factions or even families. It is a simple truth. The British people wanted control. They wanted their lives, streets, borders, trade, and much more. And instead, we lost it. Okay, why did you lose it? What was the big problem about this? I have to wonder if Tom will ever get asked by someone the Brexit question. And this is actually something I maybe I might do a video about this, but I really think that all the our pro EU brethren, if there are any out there who are actually members of the Conservative Party, they need to get involved in this competition, and they need to start going to these hustings, to these meetings, and start asking these candidates about Brexit, about all the problems that Brexit has made. Start showing that in the Conservative Party there is this push that, oh, actually Brexit has failed and you have lost. That is a lot of the reasons that have added to our problems. Just a thought, guys. just a thought. Anyway, so anyway, he continues. We couldn't deliver because we were far too focused on fighting each other and not delivering for the people of the country. The families who relied on us relied on our promises to see our promises through. Yeah, that's going to continue. That is absolutely going to continue because the Tory party is just so fractional now. What is Tom going to do about this? You if you are going to be the leader of the Conservative Party, it starts with at least admitting there is a huge problem with factionalism in the Conservative Party and how you intend to do that. Otherwise, factionalism will just rise up again, and everyone will start infighting. None of these leadership candidates cleverly hasn't. Tugendhat hasn't. Badnock won't either. Neither will generic Jarek. They won't offer how they intend to solve this infighting. That is absolutely sure. So this is so weird. this I cannot understand why he wrote this next part. This is the weird one. So some people think that the Conservative leadership election will be divisive, splitting the party. It absolutely will. It absolutely will, because the Conservative Party cannot agree on a range of now issues that they have. They cannot agree. And that is a big part of the factionalism, is a big part of their ideological dogma that they have now committed to. It's bizarre that, a lot of people out there can see the problems of the Conservative Party, but everyone who is in the Conservative Party themselves cannot see that problem, probably because, again, they are so ideologically, rooted in that cause. But it gets even worse. So, he says that this is wrong because actually there is a long list of things this election isn't about. They each are gender, tax rates, defense spending, and net zero. What? These things aren't up for debate in this leadership election. You are running to be leader of the Conservative Party, Tom, and you are saying that this election isn't going to be very divisive, that it's not going to split the party, and that everything that the Conservative Party has been fighting about for well over, if not the past decade, if not really the past 5 years, not even going to be talked about, not even going to be debated about in this general election. I think Tom is going to be in a very rude surprise. He's going to be in for a very rude surprise. I just can't understand why he wrote that, because that alone just does not make any sense. So he continues. Why not? Because politics is about principles, and all the Conservatives are guided by our basic principles here. He says that we know if institutions do not serve the British people and make it harder to control our own borders, then we will have to exempt ourselves from them. or leave their jurisdiction. We know what a woman is. We want lower taxes. We know national security must come before Treasury spreadsheets. We all know that energy and security and household bills come first. And yet, across the conservative spectrum, everything about that was argued to death from different ideas, how that must be done, and where to do that. That is essentially, it almost feels like a no true Scotsman fallacy, or should we say, not a true conservative fallacy. And the fact that he doesn't think that, like, ECHR, gender tax rates, defense spending, net zero isn't going to be debated at this leadership election is nonsense, because it absolutely is. You know? Just, it's so delusional. I cannot believe whoever's behind like Tugendhat's campaign, because this will have had multiple people look at this before this was released. I cannot believe someone let him release just this part alone. Is insane. Insane. So he says these are now common sense conservative positions. Except you've stated something, and yet there are multiple conservative positions on those things. Multiple conservative positions on all those things. Anyway, they are non-negotiable for me, and I would hope for anyone who else who puts themselves forward, and any one of the other candidates in this race is a good conservative. And I am proud to call them colleagues and friends, and together we will form a team that wins the next election. Oh yeah, no, you're going to make me leader, and then I'm going to make you all, important cabinet positions. Tom clearly has not learned one of the things we've seen from these past leadership elections, and that is beware the sour loser. Because oh boy, if somehow Tom Tugendhat wins, Kimi Badnoch will take every single opportunity to knock him off his perch, to argue with him, to say that is not what we should be doing. That is not what we should be doing. The idea that there is somehow going to be a campfire and they all come together around it and they sing Kumbaya while they have this nice, gentlemanly debate. No, forget it. This is not going to be, singing Kumbaya and all nicey. That is one thing absolutely they are going to do it. So honestly, he goes on and he talks more about trust. But that's it. He doesn't really bring up anything else. But now we go on to some of the comments. Immediately, the first one: oh, get lost. Feelable wets like you are the very problem. Just throw in the towel and go join your soulmates, the Lib Dems. The gap between what a Tory says and what a Tory does is wider than the Grand Canyon. What finished you lot or even destroyed the remaining slither of your credibility of what you had was the Rwanda scheme. Everyone knew it wouldn't work, including you lot, who were too scared to fight an election before it was so-called implementation. It cost a fortune, and it was everything the Tory party is now. A lot of hot air, weasel words designed solely to keep the plate spinning just for a bit longer. Why don't you get back in the clown car with the rest of them and drive off into the sunset and never return? I'll be happy if I never hear from a Tory ever again. Wow. The problem is that the Tories here is that they never have for several decades actually listened to their supporters. Quote, there's none as SP as deaf as those who do not wish to hear, and the supporters have stopped supporting. Many of them have now formed Reform, a strong conservative grouping, rapidly becoming a political party. The Conservatives, not the party, largely now stayed home, and they could see no good reason to vote for the Conservative Party, nor will they next time. They will realize that the people up for election will not offer and support conservatism. A major problem of the Conservative Party is the Conservative Central Office that is now controls the selection of candidates. Again, the idea that the reason why the Conservative lost because they weren't conservative enough, that's wrong. That's ridiculous as well. But again, you know, copium excuses galore for days on that. Someone else says here, TDLR to summarize. We know that we spent the last 14 years being absolutely useless, breaking promises, not being conservative, not getting a grip on the machinery of state, not delivering anything useful. But next time, we promise it will be different. This is like listening to an abusive man apologizing to his wife after he's beaten her up for the 9th time. Someone else, the ECR, the gender tax rate, defense spending, net zero. These things aren't up for debate in this leadership election. Net zero isn't up for debate, question mark. This is a very badly worded section, completely confused if you are pro or even anti. Not great from someone who wants to be leader. Yeah, none of these have ever been as negative as I've ever seen these. This is incredibly negative. And if you saw if you ever looked at the James Cleverly stuff below his video below, um, the Conservative Home article, Henry Hill's, I think, written a very scathing piece against Tom Tugendhat in this just recently as well today. I nearly did that because that was quite funny as well, you know. But again, Henry Hill's his own weird brand of conservative, who again says, "Oh, we've got to do things different. We've got to go in this new radical direction for Britain." Well, okay, what we're going to do, Henry? I don't know, but we're going to go in a new radical direction. Oh, well, okay, what we're going to do? So, yeah, that's Tom Tugendhat's pitch. Oh my word! One of the big problems that we said at the beginning of this, he is seen as a Tory wet, and I'll tell you what, that does not bode well for him when every single comment in the Daily Telegraph, which bear in mind, the reason why he's launching that in the Daily Telegraph is because that is the most one that, well, the Conservative, membership reads. It's called the Daily Tory Graph for a reason. If the overwhelming response from those comments is "you're a wet," that shows a significant problem. Now, of course, as we said before, the first part of this contest is about getting your horses together. And that's getting all the MPs to support you. Now, I think he is going to have more than enough support. I really, really do. I think he's going to have more than enough support to get to the final two. But it's when he gets to the final two, when he's got to actually start engaging with the membership, that's when you start to see problems. That's when you start to see a whole range of things where, as we've said time and time again, Kimmy Badenoch has the absolute, you know, dominion on this. She's got it on lockdown. If she gets to the final two, it's her race to lose. It would be an absolute fool's errand not betting on her to win the contest. But I still think even it is now, it's completely fool's errand not to bet on her. Because guess what? Tom said, "Oh yeah, we're all going to be, nice and calm, and we're not going to insult anyone." No, because how on earth are they going to go after Kimmy Badenoch? And then if they start to go after Kimmy Badenoch will turn around and start tearing into them. Doesn't matter if they say, "Oh, but you're not acting like a real conservative, Kemi. You're being a bit too aggressive for this, nice gentleman's debate." The non-parliamentary party will lap that up because they love Badenoch. That's why they want her. Even though it's the completely wrong person to choose to be leader of the party, They want her for that exact reason. And so far, you had, like I say, we had Cleverly's, man for all seasons and, you know, a man not ready for the seasons. Uh, and then you've now got Tom Tugendhat, who essentially, to quote that comment, said, okay, we made all these promises. We had 14 years in government. We didn't really do anything we said, but we promised this time, guys. We promised this time. Get us back in. We promise we'll do it this time. We totally, double Dutch promise. So yeah, that's Tom Tugendhat. Ultimately, as we said, we are expecting, of course, Kimmy Badnock probably the next couple of days, and of course, I think Generic Jarek to come out as well. And maybe we'll have a few surprises. Maybe we'll have a literally who. We don't know, but we'll see who we get in the next coming days. But so far, we've got two candidates in the race. I expect more to be, very forthcoming over the next couple of days. But we'll see who else throws their hat in the ring. But I'll tell you what, it's going to be interesting to see what Kimmy Badnock writes as her pitch for her opening leadership contest thing, because I have a feeling she is not going to be graceful in not attacking, shall we say, the candidates who are already there. And I have a feeling she might be holding herself back to see who's in the race. I have a very strong feeling she might not wait to the last possible moment, but come out at the moment where she feels like I'm the last one to declare, just so that she can, you know, as to quote Danny DeVito from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So I started blasting because, oh boy, Kimmy Badnock will come out blasting every single one of these candidates in her opening salvo. I can almost guarantee it. So, as always, let me know what you think down below. But oh boy, that just seems an awful pitch. I mean, that alone saying, oh yeah, all those topics that we've spent years having internal party disputes, nah, that's not up for debate in this leadership contest. I don't know. That seems weird to me, but hey, I think he's going to get an awful rude awakening. So, as always, let me know what you think in the comments down below. And of course, as always, click the like, click the share button. And of course, we'll see you all next time.